Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful story from the Quran. It's all about a prophet's plea for justice, specifically economic justice, and the absolutely chilling response his people gave him. It's a story that feels so timeless, a tale of arrogance, denial, and, well, what happens in the end. So that brings us to the big question, right? What happens when a divine warning isn't just ignored, but actively mocked? That's really the heart of the story of the Prophet Shu'ayb and his people, which we find in Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Let's really dig into this confrontation. Okay, so our story kicks off with Prophet Shu'ayb. He's directly challenging the corrupt business practices that were rampant in his community. But here's the thing. His appeal wasn't just about money or economics. No, it was rooted in something much, much deeper. A single, profound reminder about where they stood in the grand scheme of things. And this is it. Such a powerful verse. He's essentially telling them, hey, remember who created you, and not just you, but everyone who came before you. He's making it crystal clear that this isn't some new rule he just made up. It's a universal truth. Every single generation, past and present, is accountable to the same creator. So you see, he wasn't just trying to scare them. He was calling them to something called taqwa. And this is a really rich concept. It's not just fear. It's this deep, mindful awareness of God in everything you do. It's the kind of consciousness that makes you act justly, not because you're scared of getting in trouble, but because you have this profound reverence for the Creator. So, there it is, a powerful call to remember who they are and who God is. But, how did they respond? Did they reflect on this? Nope. Instead, they just put up this massive wall of rejection. And their main strategy? Attack the messenger. Their very first move was to call him Musaharan, which means bewitched or, enchanted. They were basically saying, you're crazy, you're confused, you're under a spell. And isn't that just a classic tactic? When you can't argue with the message, you just attack the sanity of the person delivering it. And they didn't just stop there, of course. They had a couple more excuses ready to go. First, you're just a man, like us. You see, they couldn't wrap their heads around the idea that a prophet could be a regular human being. They were expecting, someone supernatural? Then, they flat out called him a liar. But notice how they phrase it. We think you are among the liars. It's not based on any evidence, just their own gut feeling, their suspicion. It just shows you how flawed their whole argument was, right? They're attacking his humanity, his sanity, his integrity, anything to avoid actually dealing with his core message about justice. And believe it or not, this was just the beginning. Their rejection quickly ramped up into open mockery, and then a direct challenge to the heavens. I mean, listen to this. The sheer arrogance is just staggering. They're literally daring him. Oh yeah? If you're so truthful, make a piece of the sky fall on us. They're demanding the very punishment he's warning them about, turning this dire warning into some kind of joke. It's a dare to God himself. They just aren't taking any of this seriously. But check out Prophet Shu'ayb's response. It's incredible. He doesn't take the bait. He doesn't get drawn into an argument or start yelling. He just calmly says, my Lord knows best what you do. He completely sidesteps their provocation and leaves it all in God's hands. What a beautiful example of wisdom and patience. So he puts his trust in God's timing. And that challenge they made? Well, it gets answered. Just probably not in the way they were expecting. The consequence came, and it has a very specific, very ominous name, the Day of the Cloud. This name in Arabic, Yom Uzella, is so important here. It literally translates to the day of the overshadowing cloud. And just that name alone sets this incredibly chilling stage for what's about to unfold. So that casual mocking wish they made, it was granted, but in this terrifyingly ironic way. First, an intense, unbearable heat wave hits them, just suffocating heat. And then, a dark cloud appears on the horizon. Thinking it's relief, they all rush out and gather underneath it. But that cloud, the very thing they thought would save them, became the instrument of their destruction. And the Quran is just so clear and final about it. It describes it as the punishment of a terrible day. There's no ambiguity. This was the consequence for all their denial, their corruption, and their unbelievable arrogance. But the story doesn't just end there with the destruction. That's not the final point. After this really dramatic climax, the Quran kind of zooms out and gives us the ultimate lesson, the lasting moral of the story. The verse says, indeed, and that is a sign. It's presented as an ayah, a clear sign or a lesson for every generation to come. But then there's this really sobering dose of reality right after. But most of them were not to be believers. It's a powerful reminder that even the most obvious signs can't force their way into a heart that's already closed. The sign is there, but you have to be willing to see it. And this leads us to this beautiful, profound balance at the very end of the story. We're reminded of two of God's names, his attributes, that work in perfect harmony. He is Al-Aziz, the exalted in might, whose power ensures that justice will eventually be done. But he is also Ar-Rahim, a most merciful, who out of that mercy sends warners and gives people every single chance to turn back before that justice arrives. So when we put it all together, what are the big takeaways from this ancient story? Well, first, any real call for justice has to be rooted in something bigger than us, accountability to our Creator. Second, it shows us that classic deflection tactic. When you don't like the message, attack the messenger. Third, divine justice works on a divine timeline, not on our impatient demands. And finally, and this is so important, God's immense power is always, always paired with his profound mercy. And really, that's the question the story leaves us with, isn't it? The Quran calls it a sign. So, what is it signaling to us right here, right now? What can we learn from it about how we respond to calls for justice and accountability in our own time? It's definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me for this reflection.